If they're frowned upon.
I don't think they are. You're making a statement, and I said that I don't think they are.
Well, I mean, I certainly wouldn't want somebody involved with kidnapping. I mean, if he's convicted of that.
Cult Awareness Network is not involved with kidnapping.
That's not what
Patricia Ryan, who is president of the Cult Awareness Network, whose father, Leo Ryan, Congressman Leo Ryan, was killed at Jonestown, does not endorse kidnapping, has never endorsed kidnapping. The organization does not kidnap, does not recommend kidnapping. Can I say it over and over and over again? But the people involved with destructive cults, they've been told this is what it is, so that is what they think. But it's not, in my experience, true. Well, even though they say, I kidnap people and beat and torture. Who hasn't said something? Yes?
You said that it took you 17 years to come to the point of writing your book.
No, it wasn't quite that long. My book came out in 1988, so it came out 11 years after I got out.
Okay. But for you to, because now you know the mindset of the cult, so you can go back and forth, and you're able to do so. How long did it take you to be able to do that?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
Get yourself out of the cult identity so that you...
For me, the fifth day of my intervention, and I should say I called it a deprogramming. It started involuntary for the first day, but then it was voluntary, as you will read in my book if you ever get it. I agreed to speak with the ex-members to prove to my parents that I wasn't under mind control. And fortunately for me, on the fifth day, I did start to think that maybe Moon wasn't perfect, at which point I started researching the whole psychology of brainwashing, mind control, influence processes, persuasion, attitude change, etc. And so at the moment that I realized Moon wasn't the Messiah, I was never going to go back. And it took me a while to remember feelings, remember memories even, because when I was in the group, they had recoded my entire childhood to be a horribly oppressive experience as compared to what it really was, which was I came from a very loving, close family, good friends. I was an extra honor student. As I mentioned before, I wrote poetry. I was a creative writing major. But it took me time to heal. It took me at least a year to heal. And one of the things that helped me the most to heal was interacting with former cult members of the group I was in and former members of other groups. And so for me, it's been a continuous learning experience in terms of interacting with people from other destructive cults. But the people who know the most are the ex-members. I mean, and there are many of them. If you want to talk with them, they can share their own experiences.
Can I ask you, I've had my hand up for half an hour. I don't know whether you've been deliberately not calling me.
Would you like to say something?
Yes,
Will it be very brief? Because we're about to end.
I mean, you might have gotten a different impression because I took exception to your comment about the film.
Just go on.
I actually liked what you said a lot. For the record, the Harvard lawyer was among the people who was killed.
Yeah, Martin, Mr. Martin, Wayne Martin.
I see an analogy, which hasn't been mentioned, I don't think, in the media, to the MOVE situation in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if you might like to comment on that. I also think...
There was a destructive cult in Philadelphia in which the government went in and dropped a bomb and killed people and burned down a lot of homes as well. Total inappropriate use of force and total lack of regard for human rights and respect for life.
The term cult, while I think may be an accurate term for Koresh's group of sort of small c whatever, the problem I have with it, the way it's used in the media, is cult members acquitted, cultists acquitted, and it becomes it's a way of dehumanizing them. And I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's you know, the word brainwashing has also been used to the point where it also is not describing the process which it was coined initially, which was about Korean War prisoners and such. But you know, words are tools. They should be used to help us to expand our understanding of reality and to communicate better with ourselves and with others. But unfortunately, words can also constrict and narrow. And I do think that it's important to remember that people are human beings and that they deserve respect and they deserve love and they deserve honor, and not just, and I blame the media. We haven't trashed the media, but the media circus around Jonestown was horrendous. People said, well, why didn't you go down to Texas, Steve? And the truth is, I would have gotten a lot of media if I had gone down to Texas after the initial siege. I probably would have sold a lot of copies of my book, but I was repulsed by the idea of jumping in a media circus, personally.
What do you think Philip Heyman, who's been at the Harvard Law School, who, if I'm not mistaken, was responsible for the internal investigation in the Justice Department of the handling of at least a significant part of the
Yeah.
assault, and then left the Justice Department. Did you have a chance to read his report?
No, I haven't had a chance to read his report, but I think that with the exception of Professor Guthman's investigation of the ATF and Dr. Stone's investigation, I think the rest was a big whitewash. And I still think there needs to be a really good, thorough investigation. And I think the public deserves to have that.
You think his might have you would put what?
I haven't read his, and, you know, unfortunately, I'm very, very busy, and this, for me, is this thing. And when I was asked by Tom Ferrick to come and give this talk, I immediately said yes, because I haven't said what I've said publicly for a year, and it needed to be said, and hopefully, you know, it will get out to the appropriate sources.
I just thought one of the reasons he might have left the Justice Department, which was not publicly stated, might have had something to do with the fact that he raised questions in that report that went further than
Yeah, I don't know.
Steve, I wanted to ask one thing. You said that why did the government do this? Or what happened? You don't know. So,
Well, I think why the ATF did what they did was to try to get media and to
that in a way, the government, the FBI, it's a cult. It's a cult of violence. And that these are the people who believe you can't coddle. You have to show strength and force and beat them down.
There's no question in my mind that there is control of behavior, thoughts, feelings, and information within the United States. I read a publication called Covert Action Bulletin, which is a group of former CIA agents who are critical of government covert operations and such. And, you know, I do believe there's censorship in the United States media. It's not total, but there in the big thing. I was interviewed by Time magazine right after Waco went up in flames to talk about how my book was given and top officials knew about my existence and nothing was done and what they did wrong, and the story was killed.
By the government?
I can't say that the government killed it. Okay, true. But I retract that. But my sense is, and I voted for Clinton, and I confess. But I think that there were political considerations to not make the administration look bad, and how to not look bad when innocent men, women, and children, in my opinion, die for no reason. Thank you for coming.